God. You love God. What's wrong with you? Love him, I love him. I love him, I love him. I love him, I love him. Love him, I love him, I love him. Love him, I love him, I love him. Love him, I love him, I love him.
Hi everyone, welcome to the upper room. If you're alive, if you're breathing, give God the glory. So today we have a very, very special guest. I don't even know how to describe, but today is going to be a good day. She has a very powerful testimony for you guys. Very, very powerful. And we brought her here today so she can share her story and her testimony. So today we have Christelle in the building.
Hi guys.
Yeah. And we've also got the man himself, Joseph Boateng.
Hello.
Our very own and one of our hosts. Yeah. You guys already know him. So today, as I said, is a powerful day. We're going to be hearing Christelle's story. She's actually a cancer survivor. But you know what? I'm going to leave the rest to her so you guys can hear, what she's gone through, her story, and how, you guys could actually learn from her testimony. So I'll pass it over to Christelle.
Hi guys. Do you want the long version or the short version?
I love the long.
The long
yeah,
version.
We want to. Yeah, the long version. Yeah.
Okay, so in 2014, I got baptized, and when I got baptized, it was the Sunday where there was presenting everyone that had got baptized the day before. And on that Sunday, they were praying for everyone. And one of the pastors came up to me and said, "Oh, God told me to tell you that you are healed." So I was confused at first because I was just like, healed? I wasn't sick. I wasn't anything. I was perfectly fine, perfectly healthy. And he just said that you are healed. And I was just like, okay. At first I said, okay. But then I was like, oh, no, wait, you're not supposed to say that. Let me say amen. So I was like, amen. And then that went past. A couple of months later, I found a lump on my neck, on my chest, actually. It was just like it was the size of a golf ball, just came out just a bit. Wow. And I was confused because I just woke up and it was there. So my mum, I showed it to my mum. It was a Sunday morning. I showed it to my mum and I said, "Mum, look what's on my chest." And she was confused as well, but we didn't pay no mind. She said, maybe it's just a bruise, maybe it's just like one of the muscles or some things happen. So we didn't pay, it wasn't paining me or anything, so it was fine. She said, go on Monday, you can go to the GP. So on Monday I went to the GP when you could do the walk-ins. And they told me, oh no, it's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with you. Maybe it's just a lump, it's just a tissue. It should go down. That same week, a lump then appeared on my neck, and it was the size of, it was an actual golf ball now. Wow. And as that one formed, the one on my chest had now gone to like the size of a tennis ball. Wow. On my chest. So my mum was like, yeah, this is not normal, you need to go back to the GP. Went back to the GP, and they were like, we don't think there's anything wrong with you. At first he even ruled out cancer. He was just like, oh, it's not cancer, you're fine. We'll just do some bloods and everything. It's fine. But then my sister went back with me. She said she insisted that I get a CT scan because it wasn't normal, because it was actually growing. Every day it was actually getting bigger and bigger. So they booked me in for a CT scan, and as soon as they booked me in, they sent me a letter to go to the hospital. Went to the hospital. They sat down and the man was like, oh, I'm sorry to tell you, but you've got cancer. Wow. No, at first he said, you've got Hodgkin's lymphoma. So I was like, Hodgkin's lymphoma? I was like, what does that mean?
You always have big names.
Yeah, so it's always got a special name. Yeah.
It's food. Oh my God.
So he was like, you've got Hodgkin's lymphoma. And I was just like, oh, what's that? And then he was like, oh, you've got a form of cancer. And as soon as he said cancer, my mind just spaced out. It's so weird because everything just became muffled because I wasn't hearing anything, because he continued explaining what Hodgkin's lymphoma was. But I just zoned out. So I can see him talking, but I was just like, because I was thinking cancer. I was thinking, wait, what? I turned to my mum and dad who was with me, and they just, their faces just looked dead. So I was just like, is it bad? Like, is there something wrong? They said that we're going to refer you to a specialist who will just talk everything with you. So then, waiting on the letter, went home, still in shock. To be honest, when I left that place, I was kind of laughing with my mum and my dad. I was like, oh, you guys look so worried, it's fine. Like, it's not that deep. But it wasn't registering to me at the time. So then afterwards, they sent a letter saying, we've referred you to another, a cancer hospital specialist, so the Royal Marsden. So I was like, why have they referred me there? Can't I just be at the local hospital? I don't think it's anything that deep. The consultant there actually called me and said, we need you to come down ASAP. So then we went there the next day and they told me that you have stage 3 cancer. And I was just like,
Wow.
I feel fine. I look fine. The only difference is that I've got 2 lumps on my neck and my chest. I'm not understanding what you guys are really saying here. So we had to start treatment straight away. So there was no way that I could process anything or try to understand what was happening and how my life was changing. So anyways, the treatment started, had the treatment for 6 months. And the first set of treatments, it worked. I had a CT scan again and it showed that there was no trace of the cancer. Everything was gone.
Wow.
So I said, oh, praise God, we were all happy. I even did the testimony in church, said I was healed from cancer.
Wow.
Come January, they call me in again. And then they tell me, oh, sorry to let you know, your cancer's come back again.
What? Does it go and come back?
Yeah. So I was very confused because I was like, oh no, but I thought everything was fine. I had the treatment, everything was gone. They're like, sorry, it didn't work. Sometimes it kind of kills it, but it doesn't suppress the tumour. So then whatever's left, the residue, it grows back again. And it's growing back. So we can't now treat you with what we treated you before, because obviously it's not working. We have to treat you with something more harsh. So I started another course of chemotherapy, lost my hair, lost appetite, lost weight, so many things. My skin got dry, started forming eczema. My eyesight got really worse, really bad. So everything was just, it was a lot, the process. So then we started the treatment again. And halfway through this treatment, I think I was on it for like a year. They told me that the treatment's not working, your cancer's growing, so we're gonna have to put you on a harsher treatment alongside with radiotherapy. So I had radiotherapy and treatment, chemotherapy as well. And all this time I was just confused. I was tired, I was drained, my body was drained, I was mentally drained, I was spiritually drained. Everything was just, I had no hope, basically. So I was just like, oh, whatever they say, I'm just like, okay, whatever, just do what you need to do. Because at this point, I'm losing the hope that this is a battle that I'm going to win. So we continued the treatment. And in 2017, I was in remission. They said that, you're good, everything's gone, everything's fine. And I was like, praise God, this is amazing. So a year passed now and I started work and life was going back to normal. I went for a checkup, as you usually do, to have a scan. And they told me it was back again.
What? For the third time?
Wow.
Yeah.
First, second, third?
Yeah, it was back again. And it was, for me, I kind of felt like, okay, this is the end, because it
too much.
didn't make sense. And then I just kept remembering that prophecy that was given, you are healed. And I was just like, I don't understand. If I'm healed, why is this coming back again? So then they told me that they had to do a stem cell transplant.
What was it again?
Sorry?
What did they say? What transplant?
Stem cell transplant.
These people have big names for everything. Why can't they just give a simple
transplant.
name? Transplant.
Yeah, no, I had to have a stem cell transplant. So essentially what that is you remove all your immune system. They basically drain you and then they give you another one. So I had been on the list. So this is something that they wanted to do on the second time I had relapsed. The cancer came back again. But because apparently my blood type is rare, and obviously, as you know, not a lot of black people give blood.
Yeah.
So, or let's just say African people give blood. So it was very hard for me to find a match. Every time they'd find someone, it wouldn't be a good match for me to be able to take on, because if you don't take on a good enough match, there's a lot of complications in that already as well. So so they had to put me on the list, and they put me priority on the list, but we were waiting 1 month, 2 months, no one was coming up, until they decided to test my sisters, and one of my sisters came back as a match, but she came back as 50%. So it wasn't great, but they were just like, this is the only hope we have. We can't keep you on the transplant list for too long, because we don't want the cancer to get out of control where we can't, not even a stem cell transplant will be able to do anything. So I decided to just go ahead with it and just use my sister's stem cells. So it came, so we prepared for it. They said you're going to be in hospital for 3 months or more, depending on how your recovery is, but the minimum that they actually keep you is 3 months. After that, we'll kind of like monitor you and see how everything goes. So I was just preparing myself for that time. It happened in 2018 in January. So this is like 4 years of me just going back and forth. So 2018, 2019, I had the transplant. So I had the transplant, and I actually stayed there for 3 weeks. And they were shocked at my recovery. I did have, obviously, side effects and everything like that, but they were even reluctant to send me home, because it was just like, everything is just, it was happening too quick.
Normal, yeah.
I was just like, this is not how I know my body, because I know my body likes to play, you're good, and then the next thing you know, no, you're not good. So it's like, so when they said, you get to go home, and I was like, but it has not even been a month yet, so how are you sending me home? So I was very skeptical. I was like, are you guys actually doing the right thing? Has it really gone? Is everything okay? Everything's good? But they said, everything's good. So since then, no treatment, no relapses, no nothing.
Wow.
No.
This is
Whatever transplant.
Wow.
no that transplant, that.
And what year was that?
That was in 2019.
Wow.
Was the last year that I had to deal with anything cancer-wise.
Wow.
So now, I'm here, 2022.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot actually happened in the meantime. Prior to my transplant, I did what I would have like a near end of life experience. I got really sick. I actually had an infection, which was a normal flu, but because my immune system can't fight anything, it got really bad. I couldn't speak, I couldn't breathe. It was like, I couldn't say COVID, no. But I couldn't speak, I couldn't breathe. And we went to the hospital, and they were basically telling my mum, like, okay, like, this might be it. But God, being God, literally the next day I was normal.
Wow.
Yeah, so the doctors will come in and they were like, this is not the person that we saw yesterday. You looked like you had no blood in you. It looked like you hadn't eaten anything in 3 months. I was literally drained. But literally the next day it was back to normal. And then now I'm here.
You know what? Like, I'm so speechless. Like, this is truly a testimony.
Yeah.
Because the fact that you were supposed to be there for like 3 months.
Yeah.
And it's just 3 weeks.
3 weeks, literally.
This is a testimony.
Yeah.
And I feel so I'm blessed. So actually, thanks for sharing your story.
No, you're welcome.
You know, I know there's a lot of people out there who are, battling with cancer. A lot of families who have lost loved ones. You know, my close friend years ago passed away from cancer.
Yeah.
And we were really young. We were very, very young. And this is emotional for me because this is really emotional.
Yeah.
Like hearing your story. And I know a lot of people ask the question, you know, if there's a God, why me? Why my family? Why, you've survived from cancer, but there's many people who don't.
You don't. Yeah.
And I know people always ask the question, why? You know? And even I used to ask why. When my friend passed away, I didn't understand. I was questioning God. I mean, I was young. I didn't understand. But, as I grew up, I realized, even the Bible says there's a time for everything.
Yeah.
There's a time to be born.
Yeah.
There's a time to die, and death is not the end. And death is not a bad thing. I mean, the fact when you're on earth, you need to live a good life. You need to let it be worthwhile because we all don't know when our time is.
Yeah.
When it hit you and they told you had cancer, you didn't even know what to do.
It took me a while,
to
kind of, for it to sink in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
At that moment, you'll be thinking of, wow, so like you didn't do anything. You didn't have any, like you didn't accomplish anything. All of a sudden, it
hits you.
yeah.
You have cancer.
Yeah.
So it's like you look back and you're like, okay, I'm going.
Yeah.
And I didn't even finish what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
So it's like my advice always to my brothers and sisters is you always have to focus and do like something that when you are no more here, it will have an impact.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
It will have an impact because I tend to ask that when we die now, we all die. And then the new creation that's coming, we are using us as the Bible. Like Joseph chapter 3 verse 7. Crystal chapter 14 verse what? Daniel chapter 11 and then what is written there will encourage someone. That's a good thing.
It's true, yeah.
But there's someone out there watching me, and if they write whoever chapter 3 verse 3, what is there? It won't inspire you. So live a life as when you are dead now, and then you're supposed to be in the Bible. That life you will live will be an encouragement for someone to follow and go. As like we are reading Joseph's story, reading Moses, Elijah, Jesus, and all that. We use it. That's what we use every day. So live a life like you'll be in the next Bible.
Yeah.
Live a life where when you die, your statue will be there.
Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah.
Chadwick Boseman didn't survive his cancer. He died. But
he left a legacy.
He left a legacy, being a superhero. You understand? Now these children look at, his image will be there.
Yeah.
That my son will grow and then look at it and be like, that I love this man. And I would tell, oh yeah, he used to be this, but he's no more. He's somewhere safe.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah.
So live a life. They will build a statue. That they will write a nice bio on you. That's how you need to focus in this life you are in. We all have a mission.
Yeah.
You need to just we have a mission. We don't know when we are all going to go.
Let me throw this question to you guys, because I know a lot of people tend to ask this, especially unbelievers. If there's a God, why all these diseases? Why cancer? Why COVID? Look at what COVID has done to us. Why? If God is there, I know like there's, death, there's a time to be born and there's a time to die. But if we have an all-powerful God, why? Why is he making us suffer? That's a question a lot of unbelievers ask.
It's funny because I always think of that, but then I always think everything that's going on in this world is consequences of man-made decision. Because then they're not being directed or guided by God. So therefore, that's why there's sickness. Yes, God can permit someone to be sick. For example, I definitely believe that it was the will of God for me to be sick and to be healed. There's sometimes the will of God for someone to be sick and for someone to die from that sickness. But in everything that he does, there's always something good that will come out of it. Whether we see it now or in 5 years or 10 years, even when the person passes, something will always be there. But in terms of sickness, diseases, war, certain diseases, certain sickness, war and stuff like that, personally for me, we can't just blame God and see like, God, why? Because God gives us the free will to do what we like. And it's down to you how you use it. So for me, it's always like certain things when I look at it, if we're taking away sickness, let's just say things of the world, like war and stuff like that, I believe it's man-made decisions. And this is just the consequences of what they've done because they're not being guided correctly. In terms of like sickness and diseases, is there ever an answer for anything? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Certain things are like, you just have to accept the will of God. That certain things are going to happen in this world. And we always have to remember, this is not our permanent world. This is, we're not here to reside here forever. We're here for a purpose. And that purpose is to serve God. Get as much souls as we can accumulate so that we can go and live life, eternity with God. So if you continue asking yourself why, at some point you're going to get tired because you're never really going to get an answer.
Yeah. What do you think, Joseph?
All these are created by man. Coronavirus wasn't created by God. It was created by man, and then we are asking God.
Why?
If you are God, why?
Yeah, why?
If you are God, I don't you see, I don't understand why we humans are like that. Yes. It's like we don't listen. We don't obey. We don't allow God to direct us. And then we cause our own disaster. And then now we are calling, if you are God, come and do this. You get it? If you are God, come and do this. So I think these are created by man. That's why they need to solve it themselves. Yeah. But we believers, we pray to God to exclude us and then not push us to be part of it. That is what our prayers are. Yeah. Do you know, as I'm speaking now, someone is there mixing chemicals. And then it will blow up, and then another thing will come. And then you know, the funny thing, they always have name for it. As of now, they'll have name. There's the second virus, like, what's the name of it? Coronavirus.
Omicron. Yeah. I know it's a Marion or Omicron.
I always have this question. Let a virus come now. The virus has a name. I'm like, how? Why did you claim saying the thing is an unknown virus? Something that is unknown is something that has no name, that has no home source. So that's why it's tagged like unknown. Why did they have a name? So you just look at it and say Omicron, Corona, this one, the wave that came, the storm that came now.
Storm Eunice. Storm Franklin.
Everything.
They got names for everything.
For everything.
Yeah.
And then you go to God and say, God, there's a Storm Eunice. And then can we come and heal it if you are God? Are you joking? You get what I'm saying? Are you joking?
Yeah.
But I also feel like there's no harm in asking why.
Yeah.
Just because we may not get an answer, it doesn't mean that we can't ask why. Because a lot of people will ask, my baby was just born, why did it go?
Yeah.
Because it was just born. No harm, no sin. They didn't do anything. Why is my baby gone? Why do children die young? Why do the innocent? Do you get what I mean? Why is there such thing as wrong place at the wrong time?
Yeah.
Everything is just will of God.
Yeah.
As hard as it may be something to digest and accept, it's basically you're telling people it is what it is. But it's not, because it's everything. God has already planned the world. He knows do you get what I mean? It could be in this very moment. As soon as we finish this, we're done, it's finished. God has a plan for everything.
Definitely.
But it's not, we just have to understand that we've got to trust and have faith that whatever he is doing, he's doing for a reason.
His own reason.
Yeah. Whether it's for him to receive glory or for it to be a testament to other people to see. your life could change from something bad, but you wouldn't think it, because it's like if someone passed away, you think that's the end for you. Like for me, my grandma passed away from cancer, and I was suffering from cancer.
When you were on,
When I was suffering from
Your grandma
cancer, my
was-
grandma also passed away, and her journey was shorter than mine.
Wow.
She found out, I think it was May, she passed away. So it's like, you ask yourself, we're going through the same journey, right? I'm sick, she's sick. Why is it that I was able to live and she couldn't live to tell her testimony that God healed her?
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where you just have to, God has a purpose for everything.
Definitely.
I think that's what Christians need to understand.
Yeah.
If you have that and then know God has purpose for everything,
Yeah.
then you are sorted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't live to question yourself
Yeah.
a lot, like, oh God, why?
Yeah,
this and that?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I agree.
It won't be like something that will always be there at the back of your mind. Why?
Yeah,
That question,
I agree.
why?
If we ask why, we'll be asking why forever.
Forever.
you know?
Exactly.
And you said something that I agree with. We don't belong in this world.
No.
We don't. And there's a time for everyone. We're all gonna die at some point. You know, we just need to prepare for it, live a good life, and know God. You know, so we've heard Christelle's story, and we're gonna go on a quick break, and we'll be back.
Love 'em, I love 'em.
So welcome back. We're back here with Joseph and Christelle. They're still here. They haven't gone anywhere. And, you know, we're talking about something sensitive here. I know a lot of people will be at home watching and probably questioning themselves and probably going through the same things or know someone that's going through something. So, you know, we're here to just have a conversation and hopefully inspire someone. And, you know, I was touched by your story, honestly. Like I said, I lost my friend from cancer. And you know something, like I feel at the end of the day, like I said, we're all gonna go at some point.
Yeah.
You know, and we're all gonna die at some point. We just don't know when. So we just have to make sure when we're here, you know, what is our purpose on this earth? What's our calling? What do we need? What we doing? You know, we need to make sure we know what we're doing. What has God put us here for? You know, now you're a cancer survivor.
Yeah.
That's big.
God,
That is
so
big.
beautiful.
You know.
Yeah.
So what is your purpose?
Yeah.
There's a reason you're here. You know, there's a reason.
You have been an instrument of
You know.
testimony.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Just
you've been
letting
healed.
anyone know.
Yeah.
Anyone on the sick bed. As someone is watching us now, the person is on the sick bed battling. So the person can watch this video and then feel like, if God, as you did it for her, please,
You can do it for me.
too. So I'll also be that instrument to clarify that you are the God of
Yeah.
Moses, God of Elijah.
No,
you see?
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't your time to go.
No.
You know, we were saying previously that no matter what happens, if it's not your time to go,
It's
you're
not
not going
exactly-
anywhere.
yeah, exactly,
People
yeah.
survive things because it's not their time to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
You know, if it's your time to go, you will go. If it's my time to go, I'm going to go. So, you know, I don't know if you guys have anything else to say. Joseph.
Like as what I was saying, when we see God maybe did this for this person and then the person is standing in front of the church giving testimony, we shouldn't look at something like, oh, but I was in the same situation, God didn't do it for me. Why did God did? Oh, but this is dead. God didn't do it for me. You know, there's someone who said, I'm not even going to worship God again because
Yeah.
God took.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone away. Yeah.
You know, sometimes we need to covet. Sometimes we need to receive. If she was in front of me, as she's sitting here now, you know, testifying what God has done for her, and then I have maybe a friend or someone battling, I will say, God, as she's sitting here, let this my friend who is also sick come here and then also testify what you have done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get it. We don't need to sit and then whatever. You understand? I am praying now that as she is here, millions out there
Yeah.
should always come
Yeah,
here
yeah.
or stand anywhere, stand
And
outside the
tell
road
the-
And
and
testify
testify
to
to
it.
God.
Yeah.
Amen.
He can do it.
Yeah.
I believe so much.
Oh, definitely.
He's been doing it. He's been
Yeah, he
doing
has.
worse.
Yeah.
You get it? He's
Yeah.
been doing worse. Pastor Nick Voltage. You know Pastor Nick Voltage?
Oh.
Okay, he doesn't. He's that pastor that doesn't have
No limbs, like no arms,
Oh
no
yeah,
legs.
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And then this man, when you go to his church, he has
Massive
thousands
people.
of people in his church. He's become a massive instrument of, a testimony, just
Yeah.
spreading God's word. That look at how I am. I can do a lot of things. He can do things that someone is having full body back that
Can't do
it.
exactly.
A
Yeah.
lot of things. He's standing on the pulpit preaching to people. God knows the reason why he made him that way. Yeah, he knows the reason why he built him that way.
Yes.
Created him that way.
I agree.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now look at the people in his church looking at this man receiving his words.
Yeah.
Yes. If he was like me, maybe no one would have listened to him when
No,
he's
it's
preaching.
true.
And he loved it. He's so happy.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I think it boils down to relationship. Your relationship with God. I feel like a lot of people that you're going through this journey, whatever sickness you may have, it may not just be cancer, but I think it's all about relationship, how your journey is. My journey was hard. It was difficult. There was days where I didn't even want to pray
Yeah.
because I just thought, what's the point?
It happens, Christian.
Yeah, you just,
Yeah.
I got tired. I was still serving. And you know, it's funny because I would have treatment on a Thursday. Sunday, I have to obviously go to serve. And at the time, no one knew. So I was just trying to live as normal. But on Sundays is the only day that I had energy. And that was only to serve God. As soon as I've come off the stage and I've finished, I'm back to being drained.
Wow.
For me, I always see it as God wanted to use me to show that despite what you may be going through, I can still use you.
That's deep.
Because a lot of people would come to me and be like, Krista, I was so blessed by worship today. I was so blessed by the way that you led. Not knowing my story, not knowing what I was going through. But for me, it was like, if I'm there, if I'm even at this stage right now, it's only because of God. So at that moment, I worshipped like it was my last time to worship. Like the next week, it was gonna, they were just gonna tell me, we can't do anything. I was giving, you would think that because I'm ill or I'm sick, I need to receive from God. No, I had to give. You still have to give. You still have to serve, despite what you're going through. Because a lot of people think that, oh yeah, we're sick, so we become victims. We don't really pray that much. We don't really serve that much because we feel like, oh no, I'm the victim here. You know, I believe that I should, which is true physically. Spiritually is when we have to rise up, stand up in prayer, serve, whatever. I didn't have the energy to do it, but I thank God that the people around me, and it's also about who you surround yourself with too.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
The people around me were also praying for me and giving me the encouragement to do what I needed to do. And I know that without them, the whole journey, it would have been very different for me. Without the support of my parents, my pastor, it would have been a total different journey for me because it wasn't God's going to do it, God's going to heal you, God's going to heal you. It was more of an understanding. I think that when you're going through sickness, there's at some point you have to come to an understanding of this is God's will.
Yeah.
And even if it's the enemy trying to attack you, God has allowed it to happen. So it's his will anyway. Either way, it's going to work out for good, despite where the attack came from. Do you get what I mean?
No, yeah, I agree.
And we just, it's one of those things where we just have to, come to an understanding and realize that God is going to do it. anyway. May not do it today, may not do it tomorrow, but he will do it.
And he knows the reason why
Yeah.
he's not doing it today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He knows.
Yeah.
Because personally for me, I think if I was that 6 months had happened and the first time I got the news that, yeah, your cancer's gone, I don't think I would have understood God in the way that he wanted me to understand him. God reveals himself to people in different ways. And I feel like God wanted me to understand what kind of healer he is. People get miracles from God differently. Some, maybe you may not have gone through a sickness as deep as mine, so you won't understand in terms of like God being a healer. You would just think the conventional way of healing. Oh, you lay your hand, someone's healed. But there's many aspects of ways that God can heal. God can heal through medicine because he's given man wisdom to
knowledge.
create
Yes,
and knowledge to
yeah.
create this medicine. This medicine, because sometimes we, because it's man-made, it's bad for the body and all of that stuff. But who gave him the wisdom to do that?
Exactly.
Medicine did not start, it's not a new age thing. Medicine is something that started, even in the Bible times they had medicine.
Yeah, definitely.
Wisdom, God's wisdom was imparted in people to help. Because God can't just be laying or sending men to lay hands. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
God works in many ways. We just think, oh no, he works in one way. But I do feel like it's relationship, understanding who you're serving. You will understand to an extent why you're going through what you're going through.
Yeah.
To add on what she was saying about God gifting doctors and people who do all these medicines and all that, you know, God has blessed a lot. Anything that is going on in this world now, however we live, those who are doing medicine, those who are creating social media apps for us to use, those who are creating Zoom, you know, now people are creating things and then helping us. Where good is, bad is. And wherever good is, bad is. Wherever God is, Satan is there. God has gifted someone, giving the person that knowledge to create this medicine to heal this disease, to heal that disease. Satan is also going to bring
His complications into it.
good
Yeah.
to do the same medicine but to make business out from it. Now someone has created a drug like maybe paracetamol, but the paracetamol can heal you for 2 days and then the next 2 days you feel
Yeah.
pain again.
headache again. That is it working. So you can never leave God out of it.
Yeah.
That is where you need.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And to add on to what
Yeah.
both of you are saying, you know, God's will always, and no one should ever compare their life to someone else.
Yeah.
Because God's will is different for everybody. You know, one story is always going to be different to another. Someone will survive something, another won't. You know, sometimes some people will pray for something and they don't get it, and they think, but God gave it to
God
this
gave it
person.
to, yeah.
But let me give an example. For example, there are some women that may not be able to have children, okay? And they will pray and pray and pray for it, and maybe they won't get it. But maybe God's protecting you from something. Someone once said something to me. You know, she was going through a lot of treatments to try and have a child. And the last one she did almost killed her.
Oh, God.
And she said to herself, you know what? Maybe God's protecting me from something. Because what if having that child killed her? You know, I have a family member who died from childbirth. You know, and if she had known, I don't think she would have. You know what I mean? So sometimes God is protecting you from something.
Yes.
Sometimes it's a blessing in disguise. So sometimes just allow God. Let go and allow God.
Allow God.
Let God's will. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
everyone's life is different, and God's will, you don't know what it is. Just you have to just allow it. Don't ask why. Because if we ask why, it's beyond our understanding. We don't know.
That's another thing
You
as
know?
well. There's so many things that we can sit there. I could have sat there and asked God why.
Yeah.
And he will put me a long list of reasons why.
Yeah.
I will still ask, but why?
Why? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because because sometimes it's like, you're asking why, but are you ready to accept why though? Are you ready to accept the why? Because if God says, because I want to, that's your why. Because I want to.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to get glory. That's his why. Because I want you to be a testimony to everybody else. That's a why.
Yeah.
But are you ready to accept to be the sacrifice almost, just so that somebody else gets, because for me, my testimony, it won't heal someone, but I believe that it will help their journey. It will help their healing journey. It will help them be able to embrace not the sickness, but the will of God.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
There's a difference in just giving up and just saying, oh, I've got cancer. I've got cancer. It is what it is.
That's all.
That's
Yeah.
it.
One thing I liked that you said was that you were still serving
Yeah.
Yes.
when you had it. And that's deep, you know.
That's what God
And
does.
it's funny how on Sundays you had the energy.
Only on Sundays. Any
That's-
other day I was bedbound. If you came to see me, I was
Wow.
literally bedbound.
Wow.
But it was Sunday, all of a sudden I could get up. All of a sudden I could eat. All of a sudden I could go
Yeah.
and take a shower and get ready for church. Go to church, serve, and come back home. As soon as I get home, finished.
Yeah.
As if I just ran a marathon. That's what it felt like.
Yeah. You know, my last words to everyone out there is let go, let God,
Yeah.
and serve God. Let go of everything. Put everything in God's hands and let God's will be done in your life. You know, and that's it. Don't think of the why, when, because otherwise you'll be asking why forever.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's better said than done. But the truth is you don't want to be asking why forever. So allow God's will to be done in your life. And, you know, just trust God. If any of you have any last words to say before we wrap up.
Yeah, as Daniel was saying, allow God. It's very, very simple thing. But a lot of people are finding it difficult to allow God. They just want to be asking why. So my last story, short, there was this nurse that was taking care of a patient. She finishes work at 5. Yeah, and you know, she gets home 6 o'clock, because it's 1 hour journey from her hospital home. And there was this patient that needed the nurse to stay and then help him for maybe 30 minutes. And the nurse was like, no, I have to go home. I have to be on my bed because I'm working tomorrow. Like, please. So the nurse was like, oh, that's fine. I'll just support you. So the nurse was at the hospital for that 30 minutes. And, you know, after she got home, and then, you know, that 30 minutes of she helping the man in the hospital, her house room, I think she left something there. That time, that particular 30 minutes, her room blew, boom. So if she was in the room, she would have also.
Wow.
So you see how God works.
Yeah.
Sometimes you allow,
Yeah.
but you allow.
Even if you
God.
don't understand, just
You don't
allow
understand,
God.
You just
Yeah.
allow it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to be quiet
Yeah.
and then just focus.
Yeah.
Quiet, you
Yeah.
need to be quiet. You don't need to just move. You just have to be quiet and then just do it. Just allow. Yeah. So that's my last message to anyone that's watching me. I don't know, Crystal, if you have anything.
Yeah, just going off of the being quiet part. I think for me, throughout the whole time, I was just asking God, but you said I'm going to be healed. But you said I'm going to be healed. But you said I'm going to be healed. So why? So most of the time when I prayed, it was very much angry prayers. But the being still was something that I had to learn through the process. My last word is just, when you're going through something difficult, and if you've gotten a prophecy beforehand, that's the time that God is testing your faith. I've declared a word, so I want you to believe in the word that I've said, and not believe it with doubt. Because for me, I did doubt. I doubted when they told me that I'd relapsed, because I'd be like, but it doesn't make sense. It's not adding up. Whatever sickness or anything, whatever you may be going through, always put God first. As hard as it may be, you have to put God first. And you may not do it, it's like Daniel said, easier said than done. You may not do it in the beginning of the journey, but learn, persevere, push to always try to put God first, because you understand your journey will be so much smoother once he's in the position that he needs to be in. You just need to trust, to have faith, and be still and wait on God's word, wait on his direction, wait on his guidance to lead you to where you need to be. Otherwise, I wouldn't be where I am right now. I wouldn't be here talking to you guys if I had gone with my emotions, if I had followed what I wanted to do, if I had given up, even if I had lost all hope and faith in God, I wouldn't be here to testify and speak on how good and awesome God is. So my last words would just be trust, be still, and wait on God to do his work. Yeah.
So guys, you've heard, you got to be still, you got to wait on God, and you got to allow God. You know, so we thank you guys for tuning in. We thank you for watching us, and stay tuned for the next episode on The Upper Room.
I love God. You don't love God? What's wrong with you? Love him, I love him. I love him, I love him. I love him, I love him. Love him, I love him, I love him. Love him, I love him, I love him. Love him, I love him, I